time, it gives me great pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Shivaram. He is a business consultant and trainer to jewelers of all sizes. He founded Retail Gurukul in 2012 as a consulting and training company. Sir shall be speaking on current trends in gold jewelry retail. Please.
So, good morning. Thank you so much. Soam was talking about ice creams, but if you really look at the pink pages, right, there's a lot of talk of premiumization, right? Every brand wants to sell high-priced or hopefully more profitable products. If you really look at, let's say, jewelry, right, and if you go back maybe 5 years back or 8 years back, the so-called organized retail was maybe 5%, 8%, 10%, right? But if you really look at some of the latest information, they are claiming 40% of the retailing is coming into the.
He is claiming. But
you're claiming?
Speaking on that tomorrow.
Okay. So maybe some 40%, right? Now you would expect, whatever is the percentage, right? You would expect that the price the consumer is going to pay for the so-called brand experience, right, should really become higher and higher. Otherwise, what's the point in a company claiming that, I'm a brand, right? So the question really is it really happening, right? So actually there are two, like any product, unlike any product, I would say, probably just there's a gold rate, and all of you are all the experts in, the gold rate part of it. As a retailer, most retailers had a margin on the gold rate, right? 3%, 4%, 6%, for example, at one point of time. That is coming down, right, to the point where now we are talking of one gold rate by a couple of retailers. What's the next to one gold rate at, and when we all say one gold rate, you assume there is 91.6 and 22 carat. What's below that? Can anybody guess? And you're all in Ahmedabad, so I don't even want to push that point, right? There are retailers selling it at, yesterday I was speaking to a retailer, right? It came down from 91.6 to 90, 89, 88, 86, right? So now we begin to wonder, how can somebody sell it at 86% of the so-called 91.6, right? And the other end of the spectrum is, once upon a time, the making charges, right, was about 15 to, at the consumer end, it used to be about 15 to 20%. Now that has also come down to maybe 12%, 14% on an average, right? And there is a Delhi retailer, you won't believe, he's selling it at 5%, right? And apparently there is a queue, like an old bank, right? You have to take a token, sit in there for 3 hours, right? And then become eligible for buying. So the question really is the category as such, right? Is it becoming premium or is it becoming commoditized, right? Now goes back to, and one of the polls that I was trying to do also was, as a consumer, right, do you expect to pay more and more for your gold jewelry? The typical answer would be what? Yes, right, because the gold rate has gone up and up and up, even in spite of the reduction of 5%, 9% or whatever that in the gold duty. The interesting part is, because the gold rate is going up, right, we used to have 22 carat, 23 carat gold jewelry, 22 carat, 18 carat jewelry is coming in, right? Now people are talking of 9 carat jewelry, 9 carat hallmarked jewelry. So hopefully the kind of budgets that we are talking of, the budget generally remains the same. Today it's about, on an average ticket size is about 1 lakh rupees, right? So that 1 lakh remains 1 lakh or 75,000 on an average, right? 75,000 to 1 lakh. But the grammage that is being purchased, right, that keeps going down. 8 grams, 9 grams, 10 grams, depends upon the brand, that is changing. So the question really from a trend that is happening is, the gold rates are going down, people are selling it at a so-called lower gold rate, right? But the making charges is also going down. So where does it really lead to a brand experience or a premiumization? That's one part. The other interesting part, actually, I know it's a gold topic, but how is diamond impacting gold? So one of the leading jewelers told me that, obviously the markups on diamonds is higher, right? So, lot of jewelers invested on diamonds, right? But the, what do you call in Hindi, kebab mein haddi, I think that's the proverb, right? So, there is an introduction of lab growns, okay, very interesting insight. Because of lab grown, prices are maybe 1/10 of real diamonds, the price of naturals is falling, though it has not yet fallen at the consumer side. So, the retailer who was investing in diamonds is suddenly finding diamonds not as attractive as before. So, now even yesterday I was speaking to somebody, he says, and one of the things about exchange, old gold exchange, he is now willing to open up diamond jewelry and make fresh gold jewelry, fresh diamond jewelry, which would have been a Herculean decision to make in the past, which is a trend. So, lab grown is impacting naturals, and naturals is impacting how much gold these guys are willing to shift to, right? That's quite an insight that, and this is coming from a very large retailer, right? So, that's an interesting space which I think we should look at. The other point, of course, is he was also talking about wedding jewelry, right? Traditional jewelers and traditional jewelry wedding trousseau shopping can be any limit, but increasingly, and what Soma was also specifically mentioning about high net worth individual children, right? There is a tendency not to buy lot of jewelry, right? So, they are saying that one piece or two piece is sufficient. So, what would, and that's another interesting space for research, right? What does this lightweight gold jewelry wedding trousseau mean? Today they are willing to spend 10 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees on a Sabyasachi lehenga, right? But will they be equally interested in spending a 20 lakh rupees on a jewelry, which will obviously go most of the places back into a locker. So, these are overall trends, but I thought that especially the lab grown impact on which I didn't really expect to happen. I think that's something which is probably worth looking up, and I know you're running short of time, so I think hopefully we made up something. If there are any questions, we can take it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely.
Something that's always intrigued me is why diamond industry wants to always compare themselves with the lab grown and this one. So why wouldn't they start looking at like diamond is the natural diamond. It is rare and it is what this prices and
why is natural diamond industry afraid of lab grown? Is that the right word?
Just because of price?
Yeah, because end of the day margins, not even price, right? I mean.
Look at the consumers. The consumers.
No, markup. Finally, it is markup, right? Today, a carat, natural diamond carat, natural diamond 1 carat is about 6 lakhs. Okay, 30,000 is the lab grown, right? So even if you buy at maybe 12 to 15,000 rupees a carat at a wholesale level of a 1 carat of lab grown, max you will sell at 30,000. What's the markup? 15,000 rupees, right? Whereas maybe you bought it at 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs and you're selling it at 6 lakhs. So your markup is 1 lakh. So they are very defensive. Why would I allow a lab grown diamond to come and eat into my margin share? I mean, as simple as that.
Again, think of it. The competition is about a Louis Vuitton being afraid of a fake Louis Vuitton.
I agree with you. I also come from the.
I have a follow-up or something like that. See, Sudesh, one thing, Mr. Shivaram, you speaking about margins with the diamonds. It is not it's not unknown. At least in markets like UAE, diamonds sell at sometimes 70%, 60% reduction. And what are you speaking of margins? Diamond jewelry sell at 70% reduction is quite often, and in that case, where exactly this space of this LBTs stay? And if that is I am sure no jeweler is going to leave away his 70% margin or something like that. So he would recover his profit somewhere. So it is more than that. That's what I would like to think, number one. And second thing, look at LBDs, lab-grown diamonds. Right now you're saying, something which is 1 carat which is selling at 20,000 or something like that. When I'm going to scale up, is it going to be priced much lower?
It is
Scaling is very important, which I can't do it in a natural raw mine diamond. But in lab-grown diamonds, I can do that.
You can, but I think, to a large extent, even though the lab-grown industry is trying to say that, the prices bottomed out, right? There is so much, unutilized capacity in the industry, right? It's probably another round of, keeps going around. Because for them, the raw material cost is zero, right? For all practical purposes, the raw material cost of lab growns are almost zero. So and they have got huge capacities. So that price will probably fall, because once it is falling, the natural is also fighting it out. For me, the example is Swiss watches versus quartz watches, right? Maybe there's always a space for a high-end 3 carat, 5 carat natural, but maybe the mass market will probably be, going down and down. The small melees and things like that. That's my personal view. I really will have to wait and see.
Will the consumers at some point of time start to suspect?
It's already happening. If you really actually, if you see the latest press release from Tanishq, for example, right? They have recently signed up to install 100 diamond carat meters. I don't think it has yet hit the market. The machines have been there in the market for quite some time, and they're already speaking officially, right, about this mixing. About 10-12 years back, Tanishq, when I used to be there, we had Amitabh Bachchan talking about a mixing ad, which was one of the most famous ads at that time. Mixing of, all kinds of naturals at that time. But today there is definitely that thing about mixing naturals with lab. Yeah, that's something which, as a consumer, I think we need to be careful.
DBS next registration machine.
Sorry?
DBS.
Yeah, DBS machines, about 10 lakhs. Correct, 10 lakhs.
I saw that.
Yeah. See, that's another point, right? It's just 10 lakhs, right? Why is it that every jeweler not use it, right? Yep.
I just want to add to what Sudesh was talking about. I had this interesting conversation yesterday with one of the biggest jewelers in Bangalore. I mean, lab-grown diamonds has become a hot topic amongst jewelers now. The question is asking is, why do people buy diamonds earlier? One was it was expensive and the sparkle. Now we have an alternate for that. Okay, the rich do not want to long to buy diamonds anymore.
Yeah.
Now, if you have read about the newspaper reports about Titan coming out with a meter to distinguish between lab-grown diamonds and this one, I mean, everyone wants to go for lab-grown diamonds. The issue about someone flaunting a diamond to talk about it that it's rare, it's expensive, is sort of eaten up by the lab-grown diamonds. Oh, yeah. And the affordability of people in the lower strata to buy the LBD has opened up. So there's a big market now. I think that's the sentiment which is there.
How many a retailer who is predominantly in gold jewelry, they are seeing it as an opportunity, because at the end of the day, 4%, 5% is the markup between buying and selling in gold jewelry, right? Now, if I'm buying at 20,000 rupees and selling at 30,000 rupees, I still have a 10,000 rupee additional profit that I can make. So they are more interested in the plain gold jewelers are more interested in lab grown than the real high-end jewelers interested in the lab grown.
So just to add, you spoke all about, and I've been observing since in my 20 years of association with gems and jewelry, and mainly with De Beers and also all diamond kind of thing. So the major motive of bringing lab grown in, it was by De Beers, and in order to bring down the prices, but it actually felt back other way around, because now, as you said rightly, that there are more people who will come in and buy lab grown, but the diamond market or diamond studded jewelry market, the largest market is US, and in US now 50% of people, those who were earlier buying natural diamond jewelry, now they are buying, lab grown jewelry, and they are spending that rest of the money is for either for the,
Wedding or-
electronics or for, experiences and all. So it's not actually increasing any market share. In fact, it is decreasing the natural diamond people's revenue. Even though if in lab grown studded jewelry, the profitability is high, the value is very, very less. So it is in overall picture, if we see from the Indian point of view, brand India point of view, we are going to lose a lot of, revenue on in export terms. When you say that now people are melting jewelry and, using gold and, diamond, they are giving it back. That's the classic example of why China is not at all moving. That's what is happening in China right now. All the larger, brands, top brands, like they are probably much far better, in terms of revenue than any brand in US. The larger, bigger brands, they have stopped using, gold studded jewelry. They have melted all the gold studded jewelry, and because the gold prices are very high, they are using gold, utilizing gold, and the diamonds out of that jewelry, they are selling back to the diamond traders, those who are going there to sell diamonds. So, that is the reason why diamond industry is absolutely into very, very different mode. And the expert says that or industry says that, it will probably take 2 years to even get back to kind of normal, way to normal, because until China comes in back, there won't be there won't be any power to, buy. And all this big retail brands and all in China, they are like way too big. They are like $11 billion turnover companies and all. So, 11 to $5 billion turnover company I'm talking about. So it's a huge mass quantum, and their thought process have changed.
Yeah.
So it's changing that way, and that's why people are feared in natural diamond industry that, the wealth of their entire couple of generations which they have made, like $1 billion or $800 million and all, now that has drastically gone down by 50% less. It's a huge loss in their overall earnings and revenue.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an inciting session. We would like Professor Sundarvalli to please facilitate, sir.
Thanks so much
Thank you
for
so much.
accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
Thanking to us.
Thank you.
And several things I think for want of time, I'm cutting short,
Yep.
but I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah,
I'm going
please,
to talk
anytime.
to you.
Yeah,
Thanks a
thank
lot. Thanks very much.